now to the scandal that's enveloped Prince Andrew due to his relationship with the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. This morning, a new twist with video leaking from one of the world's biggest news networks. It shows high-profile anchor Amy Robach venting to a producer in a commercial break, revealing that not only did she have the Epstein story a number of years ago, but also that the palace apparently pressured ABC America to quash it.
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. We were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story.
A pregnant woman in Florida used her AR-15 to protect her family from two masked attackers who broke into her home. The family was home when the armed intruders broke into the house. The intruders grabbed the woman's 11-year-old daughter as a hostage. They pistol whipped her husband and demanded anything of value in the home. In response, in order to protect her family, the 8-month pregnant woman grabbed her legally owned AR-15 and shot one of the intruders. The other one fled the scene after his friend was shot. The first intruder was later found dead in a ditch. In other words, a badass pregnant lady with an AR-15 saved her family from two violent criminals with pistols.
Police in Thailand suspect Muslim separatists were behind an attack that killed 15 volunteer security officers at a checkpoint in the south of the country. 5 others were wounded in the assault late on Tuesday evening. Police say some of the attackers may also have been hurt in an exchange of gunfire. It was the worst attack in the region in years. The insurgency in Thailand's 3 southernmost provinces has killed about 7,000 people since 2004.
He was one of the top jihadist leaders in Western Africa and the mastermind behind several deadly attacks in the region. Ali Meishu of the Group to Support Islam and Muslims, or GSIM, was killed by French troops in Mali last month near Timbuktu. The news was broken by French Defense Minister Florence Parly as she returned from an official visit to the region.
On October 9th, France killed the GSIM's second-in-command in the Sahel. Ali Meishu, a religious leader, recruiter, and the mastermind behind several large-scale attacks, was a hate-monger.
Parly explained that Meishu was the second most wanted terrorist in the Sahel, including by the United States. The GSIM encompasses several jihadist groups linked to al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb, or AQIM.
Senate Republican Conference Chairman, Wyoming Senator John Barrasso joins us. Senator, good to have you with us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so let's start there. What do you think of the calls for the whistleblower's identity to be made public?
Well, we have laws to protect whistleblowers. I think it's an important law to have. Whistleblowers have helped in many ways. Taxpayers save hundreds of millions of dollars. But with regard to impeachment, let us be very clear. This is a partisan impeachment. There's no precedence for this in the history of the United States. And with regard to a whistleblower, this individual, whoever he or she may be, I think must, in terms of due process, in terms of transparency, make themselves available to Congress, to the president's team, testify in person under oath so people can assess the credibility of the individual.
President Hassan Rouhani arrived at this factory in Tehran for an inauguration ceremony. but he used it to announce Iran's fourth and most significant step in scaling back its commitment to the 2015 nuclear deal.
Iran's fourth step will be launched at the Fordo nuclear facility, and I will advise the Atomic Energy Organization to start, as of tomorrow, by feeding gas into the centrifuges. I will also inform the P4+1 of this step. This new action will also be under the supervision of the International Atomic Energy Agency.
The Fordo nuclear facility is the only place where Iran can and has produced 20% enriched uranium. That's considered an important stage towards developing uranium with the potential for a nuclear weapon.
China and France have signed deals worth $15 billion after their president sat down for talks in the Chinese capital on Wednesday. These agreements cover aeronautics, energy, agriculture, and French exports, including beef, pork, and poultry. Chinese President Xi Jinping said the two nations' relationship has maintained strong momentum since agreements were reached by the two sides in France in March, adding that stronger cooperation was necessary. French President Emmanuel Macron said France and China share the same stance on many issues and that more French companies are interested in entering the Chinese market. This meeting comes at the end of Macron's three-day trip to China. Earlier, he and other world leaders attended the International Import Expo in Shanghai.
Things look like they've gone back to normal in Santiago. President Sebastián Pinera lifted the state of emergency last week after he fired and replaced his entire cabinet to appease protesters. He also canceled two major international summits taking place in Chile, one of which included a two-day visit from U.S. President Donald Trump. But he is refusing to heed protesters' ultimate demand and resign.
No. Let me tell you something about Chile. 30 years ago, we recovered our democracy in an exemplary way. Since then, we have been able to reduce poverty from 65% to 8%. That is a success story.
Authorities are asking for the public's help tonight after a disturbing, deadly hit-and-run accident in Los Angeles. A man crossing a busy street hit by a fast-moving car, the driver speeding away, leaving the man behind. Other cars driving right by him.
The video shows 22-year-old Neri Ramirez Chalo getting out of his car, and as he's running across the wide street, two cars speed by. One of them hits him. Police say both cars fled the scene.
They were traveling at a high rate of speed, upwards of over 60 miles an hour.
The video is hard to watch, and so is what happens afterwards. One of the first cars that passes Chalo's body stops on the side of the road, but vehicle after vehicle goes by, and they do not stop. Finally, one car blocking the lane.
Engine 288, Rescue 88, meets dispatch, auto pedestrians, intersection of Sepulveda and Hatteras.
Chalo was pronounced dead at the scene.
A Florida deputy under arrest for a troubling incident caught on camera inside a school for children with emotional and behavioral issues. The deputy seen grabbing a 15-year-old girl by the neck and throwing her to the ground.
On the left is Broward County Deputy Willard Miller, the school resource officer at Cross Creek School, seen here texting on his phone. He was arrested. And on the right is the 15-year-old girl, the student he's accused tonight of physically abusing.
The byproduct of his actions were deplorable. They were uncalled for, and they violated multiple policies just on the optics.
This is a school for children with emotional and behavioral issues, and you see the student touch him with her foot pushing the back of his leg. A minute later, it appears that they exchange words, and then he walks across the room, grabs the girl by the neck, throws her to the ground, and puts his knee in her back. He then pulls her off the ground, throws her into a room, causing the victim's body to hit the wall, according to the police report. The charge tonight, felony child abuse without great bodily harm.